Billy, Alice, and Greg were the best of friends. They did everything together, from playing games to exploring new places. They lived in a small town nestled near a big forest. The forest was their playground, full of secrets and adventures waiting to be discovered. The friends loved to explore, and they had a dog named Sparky who always went with them. Sparky was as adventurous as they were, always leading the way with his wagging tail.
One sunny afternoon, the friends were bored. They had already played all their usual games and were looking for something new to do. They sat on a hilltop, looking at the forest. The trees seemed to whisper secrets, and the sunlight danced on the leaves. "I wish we could go on an adventure," sighed Billy. He kicked a small rock, watching it tumble down the hill.
Alice nodded. "Me too," she said. "But we've explored everywhere." She looked around, trying to think of a new place they hadn't been.
Greg, always the cautious one, spoke up. He was the thinker of the group, always considering the risks.
"What about Lost Creek?" he asked. His voice was filled with curiosity and a hint of excitement. "Nobody has ever found it. It's supposed to be hidden deep in the forest, beyond where we've ever gone."
Legend said that Lost Creek was a magical place hidden deep within the forest. It was a place of wonder and mystery where anything could happen. The friends had heard stories about it, tales of hidden treasures, magical creatures, and adventures beyond their wildest dreams.
"Lost Creek?" exclaimed Billy, his eyes shining with excitement. "That's perfect. Let's go find it."
Alice was just as eager. She loved the idea of discovering something new and magical. But Greg hesitated. He wasn't sure about venturing into the unknown. The stories were exciting, but what if they got lost or something went wrong? He looked at his friends, torn between excitement and caution. Greg chewed on a blade of grass, deep in thought. He was trying to muster the courage for the adventure that lay ahead.
"But the forest is so big," he said, his voice tinged with worry. "What if we get lost?" he asked, glancing at his friends for reassurance.
Billy nudged him playfully, trying to lighten the mood. "That's part of the adventure," he said with a grin. "Getting lost is just another way to find something new."
Alice nodded in agreement, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We'll stick together," she said confidently. "And we'll take Sparky. He has a good nose. He'll help us find our way."
Greg still felt unsure, but the enthusiasm of his friends was contagious. He finally gave in, feeling a bit more confident.
"All right," he said, "but we need a plan. We can't just wander aimlessly."
They decided to follow the river that flowed through their town. It was a familiar path, one they had explored many times before. It disappeared into the forest, leading to places unknown. Maybe, just maybe, it would lead them to Lost Creek, the place they had heard so many stories about. The next morning, they packed a picnic basket with all their favorite snacks. They brought along a compass and a map, tools they hoped would guide them. Sparky barked excitedly, his tail wagging furiously, ready for the adventure. With determined hearts and a sense of wonder, they set off into the woods, ready to uncover the secrets of Lost Creek. The forest was alive with sounds and smells. Birds chirped melodiously, insects buzzed, and the rustling of leaves created a symphony of nature. The air was filled with the earthy scent of moss and the sweet aroma of wildflowers. Sunlight dappled through the leaves, casting playful shadows on the forest floor. The golden rays pierced through the dense canopy, creating a magical, almost ethereal atmosphere. The friends followed the winding river, its gentle murmur guiding them deeper into the woods. The water sparkled under the sunlight, reflecting the vibrant greens of the surrounding foliage. Sparky ran ahead, sniffing at the undergrowth. His excitement was contagious, and his energy seemed boundless as he explored every nook and cranny. The path was overgrown and difficult to follow. Thick underbrush and tangled vines made each step a challenge, but the group was determined to press on. But they pressed on, their excitement growing with every step. Hours passed, and their anticipation only heightened. They shared stories and laughter, their spirits high despite the arduous journey. The sun began to set, casting long shadows through the trees. The forest transformed into a realm of twilight, with hues of orange and purple painting the sky. Greg was ready to give up. His legs ached and his energy was waning. He sat down, feeling the weight of the day's journey. Just when their hopes started to dwindle, Sparky barked. His sharp, insistent barks broke the silence, drawing everyone's attention. He was pawing at something hidden behind a curtain of vines. His excitement was palpable, and the group hurried over to see what he had found. The friends pushed the vines aside. They gasped in unison, their eyes widening in disbelief. There before them was a narrow path. It was almost like a secret passage waiting to be discovered. It was barely visible, almost hidden completely. Could this be it? They exchanged hopeful glances, their hearts racing with anticipation. Could this be the path to the legendary Lost Creek? The possibility filled them with renewed energy, and they knew they had to find out.
With renewed energy, they followed the hidden path.
It twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the heart of the forest.
The air grew cooler and the sounds of the forest seemed to hush. Finally, they emerged into a clearing.
And there it was, Lost Creek.
A waterfall cascaded down moss-covered rocks, creating a pool of crystal-clear water. Sunlight streamed through the trees, illuminating the scene with an ethereal glow. Behind the waterfall, they discovered a small cave hidden behind the cascading water. It sparkled with crystals and glittering stones. The friends were speechless. The beauty of Lost Creek took their breath away.
They explored the cave behind the waterfall. It was filled with treasures.
Not gold or jewels, but something even more special.
They found old letters. The letters were tucked into cracks in the rock.
There were trinkets too. Each object told a story.
It was a glimpse into the lives of others who had discovered this magical place. They spent hours in the cave, reading the letters and examining the trinkets. They felt a connection to the people who had been there before them. They realized that Lost Creek wasn't just a place, it was a collection of memories, hopes, and dreams. As the sun began to set, they knew it was time to return home. They left the treasures untouched. Lost Creek had shared its magic with them. They didn't want to disturb its peace.
The walk home was filled with quiet reflection.
They shared stories about their favorite discoveries in the cave.
They laughed, remembering Sparky's antics in the creek.
They knew they would never forget this adventure. Back in their town, the world seemed different. They had a secret, a shared experience that bound them together even more tightly, and they knew with absolute certainty that this was just the beginning of their adventures.